Hello and welcome to the last
Oh,
place.
oh,
God.
oh, I didn't know. I didn't know you were gonna just send it. You didn't say anything. All right, go
Yeah.
ahead.
All right. Hello and welcome to the last place fantasy football podcast. My name is Ryan. I am here with my co-hosts Josh and Ethan, and we are in week 3. Pre-show was kind of rough, guys.
Dude, I don't
Uh,
know. I don't know
we're
why
in
I'm
week
laughing.
3. We're in
It's fun.
week 3 of our Stat-A-Thon series. We're going through QBs, running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends, just reviewing their stats from 2022 and seeing if we can see any outliers, see if we can
Makes
see
sense of it.
anything interesting. Yeah, make sense of it, and maybe even see predictors for next year and see. I don't know, just see what we can see. So we already went through and did QBs and running backs. And we are now on to wide receivers, and that is this podcast.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I'm back.
well, yeah, and Ethan is back after
I'm
a
alive.
1 week absence. He is back.
Well, I
He's
was
not
down for like
he's
2
not
weeks.
sicky. He's not sicky anymore. So E, it's nice to have you back.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. Let's go ahead and Josh, do you have any like questions for us or anything? Because I know
Not
you had a lot of that
necessarily.
last week.
Not
Or
necessarily. I
can Ryan
think
just rip the
I.
band-aid off?
No, I will be doing that. I just want to give two things of context. I since this time of recording, as far as we know, there's only been two quarterbacks that have been cut. One being Derek Carr, one, and then now being Carson Wentz. So both
Yep.
No,
those teams,
Mariota.
especially
And Mariota.
and
And
Mariota.
Mariota.
Mariota. So that's three.
Yep.
Thank you, Ethan. So
Mariota, baby.
so now just thinking about that, I want kind of everyone to take that context of, hey, when you're doing these projections, there is a new quarterback coming in next year.
Yep.
So that especially refers to McLaurin, Dotson, Samuel, Devontae
Driven.
Adams, Hunter Renfro, Pitts, Drake London,
Well, not so
Zacchaeus.
much
Even
Pitts and Drake London. We saw a little bit of Ritter, at
we
least.
did see a little bit of Ritter, but I would also bet that we have not really seen what they
Hmm.
want to do.
Do we
Um,
see Atlanta move up from 8 to get a QB?
Here's why I say
Ooh,
no. Here's why I say no.
I don't think so.
It's because I think you give Ritter a chance. Like hell or high water, you give him a year. Best case
At least,
scenario,
yeah.
you find out he's the guy. Worst case scenario, he sucks. The team falls apart. Oh, Caleb Williams is right over here. Let's go get him.
Ooh, this is true. I do like
And
Caleb Williams better than
this
this
is why
team.
I want to bring this up because there's at least 10 teams that need a quarterback.
Oh, Josh,
Yeah.
Caleb Williams, Drake London.
USC. Welcome to the Atlanta Trojans.
Yep.
But
They
yeah,
still
there are about 10 teams could be in the market for a quarterback at least.
yeah.
So, and this is something we will bring up as far as like rookie preview or during the draft is like, all right, who's going to bite on this year and who's biting on next year?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Something to watch. But Ryan, there's no better man than you to rip off Band-Aid unless you have any more news, Josh.
Nope, I have no more news and I actually want you guys to explain what you did here because I think the changes y'all have made certainly put things into a better context and y'all did your thing with this.
Okay.
Should I
Do
explain
you
it?
do you want to take off with it?
Yeah, I'll
Go
explain what
ahead.
we
Go ahead.
did, and then I'll let you do number one.
Okay. Go ahead, Ethan.
So after some deep time to contemplate in quarantine, but also after having a brief conversation with Ryan just about how we wanted it to work, the heart of this was always we wanted to understand who was consistent, what did consistency look like, and what's the best way of doing that. So me and Ryan talked about just doing a straight, here's their average, how many times did they hit it? And so that's how everything kind of kicked off. So it's literally just their average fantasy points per game. And then we took that, we counted up the number of games that they hit that, divided it by the games that they played in, and voila, we got a complete consistency grade for how many times they hit their average. Then we wanted to go a little bit further and we wanted to talk about, well, how many times did they boom and how many times did they bust? So we went ahead and added that as well. And now we have a very large table that I'm going to make even larger eventually for content that's going to be down the road. But that's where we are now. Ryan, wide receiver one.
So wide receiver one is obviously JJ. Justin Jefferson. He was our receiving yards leader this year and ended with a scorching 1,800 yards, reception yards. Just wonderful. Him and Kirk Cousins were beautiful together. And
It's a shame they had one of the worst defenses in the league this year.
exactly. Oh my gosh. And yeah, don't even get me started on that. But his consistency grade on our previous, if I didn't see this prior to the podcast. But his consistency grade, I'm guessing this is according to our previous calculations with this. Is that right, Josh?
Yeah.
The consistency grade. So his consistency grade was 53. And
that's pretty good for a receiver.
It's pretty good for a receiver. When we had RBs last week and we were going through and they had like 114 on the consistency grade and all of that. It kind of broke our system, but his consistency grade is 53. He boomed 35% of the time and busted 24% of the time. So almost a quarter of the time he busted, which means he reached less than his fantasy points per game.
But let's put that in context really quick. So when we talk about bust, we're talking about less than 10 points, which is obviously
less than 10. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is obviously not ideal. But when you put in the context of 17 games and only 4 of them were maybe not the best, I don't know. I take that person.
It's just gambling. It was just the timing of it is what.
Yeah.
Especially his last busted game. That's where people kind of would be upset about the most. But
that was in the championship. And I remember having him in my championship bust.
Yeah.
And I was then relying on Josh Allen. And we know what happened to Josh Allen.
Yeah.
It's a mess.
But when he's fairly consistently making, 30 plus points a game, I'd say that's pretty consistent.
I find it just very interesting, just the consistency grade from our wide receiver one compared to running back one. I think that's why a lot of people still tried and true or will take a running back in the first round. But I think we've gotten to the point of you almost have a better bet of getting more explosive games out of the receivers. But do you want to just play? Do you want to play the which week is he going to fail kind of?
Yeah, well, I'd say the wide receiver group is definitely who you're gambling on because it's like, all right, who can I get to explode this week? And then how consistent is my running back going to be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If anything, it's almost you should probably try to go for the sky's the limit for receivers and then try to hit your floor with your running backs.
Well, and I want to point out that our grade for booming, our standard for booming was exactly 10 points over their fantasy points per game. Now, I'm looking at JJ's receiving fantasy points over his season, and there is four added games that aren't calculated into his boom that are within either a point or 2 points of booming. So he exceeded but didn't reach our threshold of 10 points.
I mean,
And
that's the
so that's
context that
4
we've
more
been.
games.
Yeah, that's the context that we've kind of said is like, well, are you rather going to have a consistency grade of 53, but you're averaging 23 points a game, or a
Yeah.
higher consistent player with a average of like 15?
Yeah.
And that's where, especially looking
I mean,
at,
let's look at that really,
I mean,
because you're talking about like let me get over to because we brought him up yesterday when we were talking about it too, like a T Higgins or DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
Like they
exactly.
hit it almost 60% of the time, but they're only getting 13 points a game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so
Yeah,
would you
their
rather take
consistency grade, they
take
had
that or the volatility of JJ?
exactly. Yeah, the volatility, but also the boom of JJ. Because
Mm,
when he booms, he booms.
yep.
And you know, I don't know. I would take JJ obviously because of the points. He's a week winner. If you have him in
Mm-hmm.
your lineup and he goes off, he's a week winner.
Yep,
So
absolutely.
and that's the risk that you get with these boomer bust guys. So yeah.
Yep.
So let's go on to, I guess, Tyreek Hill,
Yeah, so
number two.
Tyreek Hill was wide receiver 2. Do you guys want me to just kind of read down the list of who is in our wide receiver 1 tier?
Yeah,
Sure.
that's
Yeah,
So
go
wide
ahead.
receiver 1, we are putting down as wide receivers 1 through 12. So Jefferson obviously 1, Tyreek Hill number 2, Devontae Adams is 3, and then going down AJ Brown, CeeDee Lamb, Jalen Waddle, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Devonta Smith, Amari Cooper, Jamar Chase, and Christian Kirk.
and you left out Stephon Diggs, so shame on you, first of all.
I said Stephon Diggs.
Yes. I think there's a lot of like names in here that at the beginning of this season we probably wouldn't think would be in there.
Yeah, like Devontae
Honestly.
Smith and Amari Cooper.
Christian Kirk.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, Devontae Smith, Amari Cooper. Honestly, I didn't know if Amon Ra would continue or not. I had hopes, but I didn't see him being a top 10.
So
So,
here's the crazy part. One, I immediately go to the fact that Philly had 2 players in the top 10 for receivers.
yeah,
And
I
I
didn't expect that.
didn't
But
expect
Jalen
it.
Hurts can't throw.
Yeah, but Jalen Hurts can't throw. But I actually would be concerned about one of them next year because
Devontae.
now I don't think that's a precedent or a standard.
Mm,
Usually, 2 in the top 24 is pretty legitimate. 2 in the top 12, however, that's a little tougher. So I
yeah,
think immediately I go to, okay, AJ Brown and Devontae Smith is going to take a tumble. It
yeah, they're
now
gonna
the issue
regress.
is, who do you think is it going to be?
Smith.
Oh, see, I don't think AJ Brown is gonna be as high. I think they're both going to drop,
I agree.
but I don't think they're gonna drop significantly. I don't think Smith leaves the top 20. I don't think AJ Brown leaves the top 10
So it's going to be
or
more of
top
a
12.
Chase T Higgins kind of split.
Yeah. I think they're both going to drop. So
No, I
that's
could
my thoughts
totally
on
see
it.
that. I mean, Devontae Adams, for how dysfunctional that Raiders offense was, the fact that he still has that number 3 is very
Yeah.
impressive. But that's
Well, I
also
mean, he had a
because,
heck of a season.
yeah, he took over games.
Yep.
And then the
And yeah,
Raiders found
look
a
at
way
his
to lose
boom.
said games. But
Look at his boom
But
percentage.
yeah,
but I want to say like this was proof that Devonte Adams has it.
yeah,
I questioned it. I questioned it because I thought it was his production was mainly based out of having Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback. Now, Derek Carr is a step down. I don't think he's a huge step down from Aaron Rodgers, but I think he was a step down. And to still have that top 3 wide receiver production and be in the top 3, and have Derek Carr as your quarterback, I think that's great. Honestly, like that removes all doubts from me about Devontae Adams' skill. So
I find it hilarious that the Raiders had RB3 and wide receiver 3.
And
It,
still,
yeah, and still just yikes.
yeah.
I kind of want to bring up another person here because I find their look very interesting, and that's Stephon Diggs. An 18% boom percentage, so same as Tyreek Hill, and a 24% bust percentage. How much do you guys want to put that on being the offensive talent around him versus that's just going to be standard operation for him?
I think that's more on game plan than anything because
Yeah.
it just seemed like the matches where he didn't do, his normal Stephon Diggs self. It just seemed more of like a matchup thing, like he's getting double teamed and they can
Mhm.
just throw it over to Gabe Davis and absolutely have whoever they're playing or Dawson Knox, depending on, what
Yeah.
the game was. And he didn't have to be, wide receiver one.
Yeah,
Well,
I
I
want to.
mean, he was very solidly wide receiver one, but
Yeah,
That's
just
what I'm saying.
he
He didn't have to be for that
yeah,
matchup, though, is what I'm saying.
yeah. And with the exception of the last what 4 games, five games, um, he was, I mean, the definition of consistent.
Yeah.
Really, he was. He didn't bust once in the first 13 games.
insane.
And then out of the last 5, he busted 3 times and almost busted a 4th
So he killed you in playoffs,
in the
essentially.
playoffs. Yeah, we're literally week 14, 15, 16, and 17. He
Um,
struggled to get 5 points
Well, but one of those
out
was
of 2 of
Cincy.
those.
one of those was Cincy, so
Mhm.
that's 2 in 4 games. That's still
Yeah, of
not very
course.
good. I do think that I wonder if this is a sign, not necessarily a sign of things to come, or it's just to me, I look at it as you have the Bills flirted with death, for lack of a better word,
Yeah,
because of that UCL
especially near the
injury.
end.
If that, yeah, exactly. If that UCL injury was any worse for Josh Allen, that team crumbles. And
Yep,
even if Josh Allen was like, "Hey, give me 6 weeks, I'll be ready to go," I don't think the Bills like infrastructure can hold it without him.
yep.
And that's where I mean, I
He
think we
carries
said it
that team.
exactly. Literally carries. There is nothing else. Stephon Diggs can do his thing, but I really do wonder if the Bills are looking at, hey, we got to get him more legitimate help. Because part of it was, I do really believe they thought Gabe Davis was the guy, and I
And
think he
definitely
kind of
wasn't.
definitely wasn't. And so now you signed Dawson Knox. You're all in
Mhm.
on James Cook as your leading running back.
Hmm.
But wide receiver 2 is still a massive question mark. So I really do
I
wonder
think
if
they're going for that. I
that's
think
what
they're
I
going
think
for
so
that this
too.
year.
To me,
So,
if I'm Buffalo, I'm looking at Josh Downs or Jordan Addison.
yeah. And, I think if they get a solid number 2, Diggs could take a little bit of a hit. I don't think it's a significant hit, but I think he drops out of the top 5, but I don't think he drops out of the top 10
No, and I
next
think
year.
if anything, his bust percentage will go down, but his boom
Yeah.
percentage will go down. So he would just be like a
Yeah.
steady Eddie.
Yeah.
Um, I
Yeah,
mean,
he'll be a Keenan.
yep,
Mhm.
exactly. I think I'm much better like Keenan Allen. Um, y'all want to talk about CD
Heck
because
yeah.
CeeDee's a
he,
weird one, Ryan. I know he was
CD's a
on your
really
team,
weird one.
so you
yeah,
should
Yeah.
probably talk about it.
I mean, I enjoyed having him on my team. Just just
Not at
because
the beginning of the
he
year.
at the beginning of the year. Um no, but he was pretty consistent. He got, you know, near the middle of the year, he struggled, until the bye week, and then he like blew up after that and was pretty good. Um, but on according to this, our stats on here, his his boom percentage was only 12%, but his bust
understandable.
percentage was only 18%. So like he was pretty consistent. He stayed within the margin, and he didn't do amazing, but he didn't suck either. So, you know,
Well, I feel like that's
I
what the
think this
numbers show.
was, yeah. And I honestly, I loved having him on my team. He was a plug and play for me,
Yeah.
just because I knew that I could rely on him to get me about 20 points. That's it.
Yeah, no, I think he was super solid as well. And I think he finally took the step as like being a dominant receiver as
Yeah.
well. And he may
Well,
not
and at the end of the year too, I would just want to say one quick thing on that too. Like at the end of the year, it just seemed like he had the personality of like a force at wide receiver.
Yeah.
yes.
And I think he gained confidence after Dak came back, and started doing Dak things. I think him and Dak really showed that they could work well together,
I
really
really
well
I
as
really
wide
do
receiver one.
think the key was Tony Pollard though.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because I think what kind of screwed everything up was that like Zeke is not the home run threat that he used to be, and he hasn't been since like year 3. And with Tony Pollard there, and now you have someone in the backfield that it's like, hey, I can take this 75 if I wanted to.
Yeah.
And with and now that opens things up for CD. I think what's even crazier is that he had this kind of season without Amari Cooper. Like
Mhm.
that's what the
And
thing that I am taking with
yeah,
me.
and with the ghost of Michael Gallup.
Yeah, really. The
That
But he
ghost
is,
of
was going to
Michael.
be wide receiver one.
yeah, yeah. And me and Ethan were laughing about this last night when we were going over these. You know, everybody was saying Michael Gallup is the number one, not CD Lamb. And we're like, you guys are idiots.
Yeah,
Sorry, but
The
honestly,
Cowboys fans who think
the
they're going to
trade
win the
is still
Super Bowl
stupid.
every year.
The trade is still stupid. Like
it
let's
is.
call that.
It
They
is.
should have kept Amari Cooper, and I think they
Yeah.
could have legitimately made like had a Super Bowl appearance this year.
Yeah, they
Potentially. Yeah.
could.
But
I mean, it is
Yeah,
the
they did
Cowboys we're
not.
talking about, but
That is true. The last time they went to the Super Bowl was before any of us were alive.
yep.
no, not me.
Way to age yourself.
95, Ryan.
Way to age yourself.
Were
95.
you
I
born
know.
in 95, Ryan?
I was born in 94.
Oh, God.
I know. I
Uh,
know. I'm old. I'm old.
and
But
he
yeah.
aged.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah,
So
Oh, wow. You're going on
yeah.
30, Ryan. You're pushing
God,
30.
don't even remind me. Turning 29 this year.
that's what you get. That's what you get for going. I was born in '94. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But
The big 3-0.
Oh,
yeah.
God, Ryan.
So
Telling me.
I have no transitions for going on to for
Okay,
going on
so
to 30.
Speaking of
Jamar
on
Chase.
30,
Yeah,
Let's
let's
go
just
to
go straight.
Jamar Chase.
I want to go straight to Jamar Chase because that's the outlier that I immediately see, but it makes
Yes.
sense.
And I love it because he's on my team. He's my wide receiver
So
one.
so what we're saying with
So
Jamar Chase
yeah,
here
go ahead.
is that his boom percentage, even though he played less games, he actually ended up being ranked as a wide receiver 2 technically on a tier system, but he's honestly still a wide receiver 1 because his boom percentage was 31%, and especially within the top 20, his bust percentage is 8%. That's insane. Like
yeah.
Yep.
literally insane.
Well, and think about it too, like two of what we would consider like a bust was when he got injured and when he went up and played Buffalo and they didn't finish the game.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah,
And that
actually.
yeah, so that's his one bust game. He did not bust at all when he got back in. That's incredible.
Only Buffalo.
Yep, only
Yeah, yeah.
Buffalo.
He didn't even catch anything.
Okay. All right, can I
Yeah,
play
he sucks, Ryan.
all right, guys, can I play Would You Rather real quick?
Yep, let's do it.
All
Yeah, let's
right.
do it. Let's do it.
So Duo A has a consistency grade of I'm going to say both receivers here. Consistency grade of 41 and 47, but had a boom percentage roughly around 20%. Duo B had a consistency grade of 41. Both of them did, and consistency around 20%, or duo C that had a consistency score of 38 and 59, but you have the highest boom percentage at 31%. So duo A, duo B, or duo C.
So here's
I
the
like the
only
boom
question.
percentage. I like the
What
boom
what are
percentage.
what are we gambling on?
On C.
Like what's the average that they're hitting?
The average that they're hitting.
Yeah.
So duo A is 21 and 16. Duo B is 18 and 15. And duo C is 19 and 13.
I think I'm taking A.
We go with C.
Ooh. I am going to I think I go A. I'm going to stick with A.
I
So
might have mixed up the numbers. Go ahead.
du-
Tell us who they
duo
are.
duo A is wide receiver 2 and wide receiver 7, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Duo B is wide receiver 5 and wide receiver 9, AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. And duo C is wide receiver 11 and wide receiver 16, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins.
Yeah, I like my choice. An A.
I will take my choice as well.
That's true. Honestly, like yeah. Tyreek and Waddle
This
are
year,
Yeah,
in the
this
context
this
of what
year.
happened
Yeah.
with Jamar Chase missing so much.
Yeah. I yeah. Yeah. I think if Jamar Chase hadn't gotten injured, I think it'd be a different story.
But
Oh yeah,
honestly,
absolutely.
you can make an argument for any of those three duos because I feel like the percentage you saw of teams that were in the playoffs was higher for the B duo and AJ Brown and Devontae Smith
Yep.
than it would have been for the Miami duo or the Bengals
Look,
duo.
I think so. I would take it as so I was stuck between A or B. And the reason why I mean C is a great combo, but I think it would have
In the
been tough with
context of
Jamar.
this year.
Yeah, the context of this
Okay.
year, losing Jamar Chase for 4 weeks would have hurt.
I've got a question for you.
Yes.
Where do you think, now I know we haven't really seen him play hardly at all. Where do you think Amon-Ra and JMO are going to be next year?
That's going to be disgusting. Because here's why. Because I still think here's what I find crazy. I'm fully convinced Detroit's drafting a running back in the first round this year. The
They
question is
said they
whether
were open to it.
it's going to be Bijan or not. And I think there's a legitimate chance it's Bijan. If that's the
Oh,
case, so Amon-Ra St. Brown is a Swiss Army knife. You can use him. They had him in the backfield. They had him at slot, outside. He literally played at any different position. And they had him as essentially the third running back, too, which is kind of crazy.
yeah.
JMO
See,
keeps
go ahead.
safeties back. Because if there's anything JMO is good at, is that he will burn you alive. And literally his speed will keep defenses back. What does that mean? So safeties are back. If you're might be forcing yourself to play nickel, the Lions can run almost out of any personnel. So that means they're, as long as they get a more durable running back, their offense is going to hum very nicely. And so
Lenny to Detroit.
Okay.
here's why I don't say Lenny to
Ah,
Detroit, which actually that's a big one that we that I feel like we'll talk about in one of our
Well,
next
he hasn't been
episodes.
cut yet, but he's going to be cut.
he's going to be. They've already said it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they have to wait till March 15th. Here's why I wouldn't say Lenny is because I don't think it gives them the explosive output that they want. And the issue with Detroit is that Swift is very good, extremely good. Gets hurt, and they actually pitch counted him for the rest of the season. And I think that's something that's here to stay. Like, I don't think he'll be RB1 anymore. It's more like RB2. Jamal Williams is great, but you can't expect him to have 17 rushing touchdowns again.
Yeah,
So
no.
to me, that's where I think if you need a more durable back who is a little bit more explosive than Jamal Williams, the answer is not Fournette. The answer is Bijan.
Yeah.
And
And they've
plus,
already stated that the GM, I believe the GM came out either today or yesterday of the Lions saying that they are keeping Williams.
okay, so they're keeping Williams. They're probably dumping Justin Jackson. So imagine Bijan, Swift, Jamal Williams, and
Mm,
that's your three.
That could be a interesting duo or
Yeah,
interesting
that's a
trio.
very interesting trio. I think Jacksonville's in play for Fournette, ironically enough,
Hmm.
because you get a running back who's more of a power back now, so that complements ETN, and then you can also include the receiving out of the backfield. So it's not like
Yeah.
he's stuck into like short yardage situations like Zeke is.
The church does not accept.
Here's the thing: even if he got into Jacksonville, I still think it doesn't take away from ETN.
The
I think
church does not accept.
Okay. So let's keep on wide receivers, guys.
okay, all right, we've
Okay.
talked. I'm
Anyway,
already
Sun God's gonna be ridiculous. I see him as top 10.
Yep, Sun
Okay.
got top 10 as well.
All right. So I've got two teammates that I kind of want to get your 2 cents on.
Ooh, I should have put them in the Would You Rather.
Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. Where do you see them
I was
next
literally
year?
gonna ask how far up this list do you see Chris Godwin going next year?
Okay, so let's talk about this. Obviously, Brady's retired. They're saying
Mhm.
it's Trask at the moment. I think it helps Evans more than Godwin.
Really?
And it's just because I think they'll have so the new offensive coordinator for Tampa, because they fired Leftwich, is Dave Canales. Dave Canales was the QB coach of Seattle. And if there's anything Canales has done, is that the deep ball accuracy for Geno and Russell Wilson was incredible. And with Geno, it kind of proved that, oh, hey, no, this is not a fluke. This is not just Russell Wilson. The better vertical receiver is Mike Evans when it comes to Tampa. So I personally think Mike Evans, this might be his last year of dominance, legitimately, because I think he turns 30 this year. But he would be someone I'm looking at the moment.
See, I don't think he's going to be high up on this list. I think he's going to be either exactly where he is or even lower. I think Chris Godwin is going to be higher.
The only reason I would say Evans is because I think a lot of the routes and the targets Godwin got was because Brady would threw short. Trask at Florida never really showed short unless it was like a designed bubble screen. And I think
Hmm.
he always pushed it down the field because he had a bunch of dudes at Florida and they were always pushing the ball down the field. So that's where I lean Evans. I can see the argument for Godwin though. So I think they're going to be around the same range. However,
Okay. So, with rumors that Derek Carr could potentially be going to New Orleans, how do you feel about Chris Olave?
No, still no.
a
Still
lot.
Think
no?
think Indianapolis Colts.
So that's
I
so
think they're
that's
done
I think the
picking up.
Saints. I think the Saints have kicked the bucket as far as they can. So you're
Yeah.
gonna have to get rid of Michael Thomas. You're gonna have to get rid of Jarvis Landry. Alvin Kamara will be suspended this year. That's almost a guarantee at this point. So that leaves you with just Olave, and you're thinking, oh man, maybe the opportunity might be great.
Yeah.
He
No,
also missed a few games to injury last year, and if he's the only one out there, Yes, there's Raheed Shaheed, but like that doesn't really help my concerns as much. I definitely see New Orleans actually drafting receivers this year.
Yeah.
And
I agree with that.
I think I think they're gonna go skill positions
yeah, so
for sure.
I think Olave is going to stay in the range that he's at, and we won't see a massive elevation until they figure out offense.
Hmm.
Because even
Okay.
if because Carr doesn't move the needle for me. So that's also the other issue. They need to figure out who their quarterback is right now because everything's on a band-aid. And I think at some point New Orleans just has to realize we have to rip the band-aid off.
Hmm.
Because Kamara's about to turn 30. You don't have a replacement for him at running back. Michael Thomas is getting closer to 30, but he's been hurt for 3 years. Jarvis Landry's past 30. Your only young skill player is Shaheed and Olave.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
True.
Yeah. I mean, without a supporting cast, I can see him really struggling. Um,
Can we
but
talk about
they haven't made those moves yet.
haven't made those
So
moves, but it's something that I'm keeping my eye on.
it's something that you'll have to keep your eye on because I don't know, with a decent supporting cast around him, I think Olave could shoot up the charts. I don't think he could be a top 5 or maybe even a top 10 right off the bat, but there's potential there.
Yep.
I do have one more. This is for Ethan.
No, can I do 3?
Oh,
Because I'm
Does,
going to
does
include
it?
the one you're about to ask.
okay. All right.
Okay.
How far up do you guys see these 3 wide receivers going?
Okay, go ahead.
DPJ, Drake London, and George Pickens.
Ooh. 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 Ooh.
Drake London, I could see as a top 15 if Ritter gets his crap together
Well, I think
and they have a
if he
good
stays at 10 targets a
yeah.
game,
Oh yeah,
The
then
opportunity.
the
Here's
opportunity's there.
here's the thing, though. I don't know. I think you're going to get closer to 7 to 8.5 targets a game. I don't think it's going to be 10 because you have to understand those stats were coming with Pitts being out.
Yeah.
right. Well, but if he figures it out a little bit more and can get that offense working to where he can have 10 and Pitts still gets fed.
I think best case scenario for London is top 15. Though I am going to say
I
more
agree.
top 30
I think
at
he
the
can break
moment.
Yeah.
top 25.
It's possible, but there's a couple people that I am looking at that I go, ooh, I think they'll
Yeah.
stay here, or there's some people moving up. Because as of right now, I would see Debo coming back up into the
Mm.
conversation.
Up
I would also see, hold on, let's see, Cooper
Cooper
Cup
Cup.
at 23, so he'll rise up, but he's already in there. As far as the top 30, I think we do need to talk about Jahan Dotson as a possibility because
Up
Eric Bieniemy is coming into the
But
best trio that he's ever had.
over Pickens,
Pickens is the other dude. I 100% see as going top 25. I almost would say it's a lock.
and I think DPJ
okay.
might be a pretty hefty riser as well.
Maybe he also has to contend with Amari Cooper.
But
And
I would argue that he looked better than Amari Cooper did.
yeah, but I also
Yeah, but
think
Amari
that
Cooper had those stats.
so and there's one more person I want to add to this conversation, Ethan. So I want to add on to it. Who do you think is more likely to stay at the top 12, Christian Kirk or Calvin Ridley?
Christian Kirk.
Ooh,
I think so.
really? So what makes you? I want you guys to elaborate on this. What makes y'all think? Like, where you guys are feeling Calvin Ridley? Like, do you think it's top 25?
I,
Do you think he'll be a
he,
big help at all?
I think he'll be top 30. I don't know that he'll be a big help. I think he'll have his games, but he's been out for so long and
Yeah.
getting, chemistry with a brand new young quarterback. I don't know. And I'm totally open to being wrong
To
because I
yeah,
do like Calvin
I
Ridley, but
I don't think I think, you know, him being out for so long, I don't know. I don't know.
It's
I don't
tough.
know.
It's
Because
legitimately
it's
tough.
just too much of a question mark to really be able to predict. I could see him leapfrogging Kirk, but I think Lawrence and Kirk just have the chemistry right now, and it's going to be hard to get over that if you're Ridley. So,
I I think that's a fair assessment from you guys. I think there are a lot bigger question marks surrounding it. I just kind of want to pick your brains there.
yeah.
Um, I got another would you rather duo question, but I'm going to tell you the players' names here.
Okay.
Would you rather have Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson or Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf?
Why would you ask that?
Hmm.
Because
With Gino at the helm,
so
uh, Lockett and DK.
and then
But when Wilson was at the helm, I probably would have
B
rather have
Ryan Bienemy.
you mean Bienemy?
B whatever. Be
Bieniemy,
a
Anemone,
an
anemone,
an enemy, an enemy,
anemone.
see an
enemy.
enemy. No, I know. Bieniemy.
Because I, I
See,
I think
that's a good
legitimately
point. That's a good
Washington
point.
might have the best fantasy trio this year.
Yeah,
But
but
I think
Heineke
it's
is
all who's
also a dumpster.
throwing to them. Whoever's throwing to them, which it's what? It's not
Heineke,
it as of
Heineke.
right now Heineke, but
I don't think
and he's
Heineke
or
trash.
Sam Howell.
is the starter. I think it's Howell they have listed as the
Somehow
starter right
also
now.
look like trash.
So they have Sam Howell listed as the starter, I believe. Because I think I looked at that earlier this week.
Funny enough, I think if there's a spot Will Levis falls to, it might be Washington.
Ooh, that would be an interesting
Because
pairing.
so I mean, and
Okay.
I'll take a small tangent here and we'll go right back to
Very
receivers.
small. Very small.
None of the receivers in the draft are like Jameson Williams, Olave, like none of the receivers this year are like that.
This is a running back class.
It's a very much a running back class, and even the quarterbacks this year, they're all kind of stuck in the top 10. So Washington will have to pay up for a top quarterback. However, they can't even really do receiver because they have that receiver room filled out already. And if you even want to go four deep, it's McLaurin, Dotson, Samuel, and Diami Brown. How much I think they go veteran quarterback. Like this is where if Levis doesn't fall, which I think it's very possible that he doesn't, because you're more likely to get a receiver rather than a quarterback later in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
That might boost my confidence in the Washington receivers because it's not Scott Turner, it's Bieniemy. Gibson may be done at this point, but at least with the passing attack, would you feel better if it's Will Levis with a rookie quarterback so you don't know what's going to happen, or Derek Carr?
Hmm.
And
Probably Derek Carr.
Yeah.
so that's where I think that's a sleeper team that's going to go get a quarterback. Because then that adds more stability considering your owner is about to sell the team and then they're dealing with more allegations and now fraud, which that's a whole interesting aspect.
Yeah.
So would you rather take the young star quarterback being thrown into a gasoline fire, or would you rather have someone who he may not be the best, but he at least will keep the ship afloat?
Yeah.
At least be a stopgap for the future QB.
Yes.
So, yeah, I could see it. I could see it. I think they still need a few pieces in order to make that offense. But I think in all, yeah, they could do some good things.
All right. I
So
only
I
have
had
one more
one.
thing I want to talk about. I'll let you go first, Ryan,
Okay.
but I have one more thing I want to talk
Well,
about.
this is for you, Ethan. This
Okay,
is for
yes.
you.
Yes, sir.
What happened to your boy, Mike Williams? What happened?
Got hurt.
Ethan?
I have the perfect response to this. Okay, are you ready, Ryan?
Yep. Let's do it.
Mike
I wanna hear it.
Evans. Okay,
Mike Evans.
wait, who did you
Mike
say?
Williams.
Oh,
Mike
Mike Williams. Whoops, Mike Williams. I don't have a better response to man. Like that's all that really happened to him because he was going off until he got injured. Because I'm gonna pull up his stats.
He had a couple good games. Yeah.
All right, let's look at Mike.
Actually, can we add more Michaels to this conversation, and can we add Michael Pittman?
That's the one thing I was gonna bring up. Shut up, Josh. Shut up. Both of you guys are trying to steal all of my things. I just need you to shut up for 5 minutes. I love you. Mike Williams. All right, let's look at him. So opened not so great. I think he was also having just a weird time competing with Keenan Allen at the start of the season because he was up and down. It went 3 to 27 to 8 to 22 to 25 to 3 to 21, and then he got injured.
Well, see, that's his MO. He is either boom or bust. Literally, there is
And
no
nothing
in between.
in between.
There is zero in between. It is literally he's either winning you the week or he's losing you the week.
I also think there's a deeper
Yeah.
systemic problem going to happen with the Chargers that I think has to be addressed. And that, I mean that I think it's why they hired Kellen Moore in the first place, and it
Well,
makes me worried about Mike Williams and Keenan Allen.
Well, I just think they have an identity crisis. Like they don't know what they want to do offensively.
I think they want to.
And that's why I'm kind of concerned about Eckler this upcoming year.
I'm terrified about Eckler.
Outside of this upcoming year, like this year, 2023 is I think he's going to do well, but it's still a question mark. Outside of this year,
I think he's RB5 this next year.
yeah, but outside of this year, I have no clue. I don't know because we don't know if they're going to re-sign him or they're going to let him go because he's on his second contract. If I'm
and he's pushing 30
correct.
too.
They won't,
and he's pushing 30.
The only reason why I am terrified about it is what they did for the first 3 weeks of the year. And where y'all, because y'all saw me throw the panic button like real quick and be like, hey, he's not getting as many touches. Why is Joshua Kelly playing? Why is he getting all the goal line work? All right, sound the alarm.
Yeah.
And then obviously the Chargers went, okay, we can't do this anymore. Austin Eckler get back in there.
It was Eckler. Eckler literally just ran through a man or two grown men into the end zone, and they're like, "Oh,
yeah." So
he's good.
So then here's what happens: you blow a 27-point lead in the playoffs, and your reactionary move, you get rid of your OC, and then you hire Kellen Moore, who's more known for running the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's like, oh, are you telling me that yes, Austin Eckler may have more like running opportunities, but you're going to cut into his targets?
Let me ask you a question.
That could bring him down to earth.
Are we about to see the rise of Isaiah Spiller?
I think Isaiah Spiller's a legitimate. You better look at him. 100%, because I think they're going to take Josh Kelly out and then they're going to throw in Spiller. And I think that was the plan.
Dang, that'd be
I like that take.
That'd be interesting.
Right, I want to go to my last question.
Yeah, go to your last one. I apologize.
No, it's okay. You suck. Michael Pittman. Are we finally going to see Michael Pittman break the curse of the top 20 wide receiver with a rookie QB? Yes or no?
Yes. The only reason I say yes is that everything's in place for him to succeed.
Why
now
I
just
say
get the
yes?
quarterback.
Here's why I say yes, and then I'll let you answer, Ryan. The reason why I say yes is because literally nothing can be worse than this last year for the Colts.
That's 100% true.
That is very
Literally
true.
nothing.
And he's still wide receiver
Wide receiver
20,
21.
22 or 21. Yeah. 21.
13,
I
yeah,
think he's in a good position to be successful.
13%
I really think.
boom, 31% bust.
Yeah.
I mean, he only averaged not even 13 points a game, which that's a
When
bigger
you turn over
problem.
the ball that much, but when your QB turns over the ball that much,
Yeah. It's hard
So,
to have a successful offense like that.
all
So,
right, so Ethan, because the Colts are picking at 4
mhm,
as of right now,
yes.
would you be happy if they took a rookie quarterback or a veteran quarterback? Like if you
Are you
have
talking
Michael
about
Pittman,
Stetson Bennett?
that's the in between. That's our limbo quarterback. But actually, actually right now I have Stetson Bennett going to the Ravens. Funny enough,
Hmm.
because the Georgia OC is now at the Ravens OC, and so you need if your backup is someone who knows the system, it makes sense.
Sounds
Because I
like
also
a
think
homer
Huntley.
to me, but okay.
But if you have Michael Pittman on your dynasty roster, do you want a rookie quarterback or a veteran quarterback?
I think I want a rookie.
yeah,
I think especially picking
I
that
could
high,
take
yes.
yeah, I can take a hit for a year
Oh my
having a
god.
young
Oh my CJ Stroud and Pittman.
I'll do you one better.
yeah,
I
I
think
don't know
Bryce
if
Young and
they
Pittman.
Oh man.
potentially. Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of
I
like the
think it's gonna
idea of
be
CJ Stroud.
I like Stroud. I really do. The as of right I, I think I told you I think he's QB1 for me right now.
But
But
Bryce Young would fit better.
I think Bryce Young fits a little bit better. The more of the spread look. But
Spread, lots of run game. Yeah.
you have JT. I personally think if you want to go scorched earth, Anthony Richardson looks really good in Indy.
Yep.
But
But he's
I
very
think
raw. That's the problem.
I
He
think
needs to
if
be
they
coached up.
because here's how I think of it right now. Again, I'll go into a little bit more
Ooh.
draft talk.
Ooh. What about no, never mind. I was gonna say what about like a Justin Fields trade, but I don't think that helps.
No, I
They're not
told you
trading Fields.
they're not trading Fields. So
But
here's
what
where
if they don't love Fields and want
no,
to take
they love Fields.
No,
You
they
don't
have
change your offense mid-season if you don't love the quarterback.
no, the Bears GM came out a couple of days ago saying that Fields is off the table. But they are willing to trade the number 1. So they're fielding offers officially.
Okay. But here's why I say I think Bryce Young works a little bit better. Just in this scenario, what do the Colts want right now? They basically tried to
not Matt
do
Ryan.
not Matt Ryan, that's for sure, but they wanted to basically grab a veteran quarterback. They think the team's ready to go, and then they're just gonna go win the whole thing, right? Well, the
Matt
most
Ryan
pro
said hold my beer.
yeah, Matt Ryan said, "Ooh, I was drafted in 08. Remember, guys, give me my AARP." But
We are farmers.
but if you're looking for the most pro ready quarterback right now, the more I think about it, the more it's Bryce Young.
Yeah.
So to me, Bryce Young to the Colts makes a whole lot more sense, knowing who Chris Ballard has kept going for the last couple years.
Well, because what
Mm,
Bama QBs do we have in the league right now? We have Tua,
Tua,
we
Mac
have Mac
Jones,
Jones,
and
and we
technically
have
Hurts.
yeah,
yeah,
and
hurts.
technically Hurts. That's not a bad little scorecard.
And on top, and here's the other thing: your offensive coordinator in college is the offensive coordinator for the Patriots right now.
Mm,
So he would know a lot of this, like a lot of similar schemes, verbiage. Like he will know that, even though he comes from an air raid background from Maynard Day. But
Yeah.
I think Bryce Young is the most pro ready. It's do you trust that he will be okay with the size?
Yeah, that's the only thing because I think he's gonna
Yeah.
measure up at like 5'9".
Yeah. Now get this. Guess what? Other team had top 10 pick, size questions, ended up working okay. Devontae Smith and the Eagles. Where's
But
your head coach coming from?
that's wide
The
receiver
Eagles.
QB though. I don't know.
But I'm just saying is that we're in familiar territory. So that's
Yeah.
where I think the Colts taking Bryce Young is to me looks very much a realistic possibility. And to now I say Derek Carr or Bryce Young with 4 Michael Pittman.
Yeah. Oh, are we okay? One last thing.
Yeah,
In
yeah,
Yeah.
closing?
yeah.
One last thing, and I think we should wrap up.
The last thing I want to look at numbers wise is our boy Cooper Cup. My man averaged almost 24 points a game 56% of the time with
Yep.
a
Wait,
bust rate of 11%.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wide receiver 23
I think he would have ended up being.
in the top 10.
If
Oh
he
no,
didn't get
in the
hurt,
top two, if he didn't get hurt.
yeah, because he was getting even more targets than last year. It was because the Rams had nobody,
Yeah.
and the Rams were dying. It was pretty bad.
The Rams all died, yeah.
Yeah,
And what did I tell you was going to happen before the season? I said I don't want Cooper Cup because he's going to die.
Yep.
And then he
granted,
died.
we didn't know the entire offense was gonna die.
Well, that's fair.
Yeah. So here, I got 2 questions for you guys. They're kind of the same thing. Who outside of the top 25 do you think it like shoots up out of nowhere, hits the top 10? My next question then is, who do you think that people said, "Oh, he didn't have he had a pretty good year," but you expect to die like be wiped off the face of the earth when it comes to fantasy? Who should be eliminated?
Okay. All right. I got the surprise for you.
Okay.
Somebody we haven't talked about. Potentially, I could see him being in the top 10.
Does he play for a team that has green?
Yes.
It's
Gosh dang it.
Christian Watson.
yep.
Christian Watson. I could see him
Our number
possibly
one
being in the
big
top
board
10.
player from last year.
Hey,
I know. And I mean
just saying.
he showed that he had explosive speed
Yeah.
and potential. I
Dude,
mean,
he's just
holy
massive,
crap.
man. Like he is
He is
massive.
big and he
Yeah.
is fast. Like
But no
my
Aaron.
lord. No Aaron. Yeah, I understand that. And that's the big question mark is if does he have that same, you know, clickiness with Jordan Love. So, I don't know who I would have as being somebody who drops.
I have 3 players that
Do you
I
want me
think.
to go?
Yeah, Ethan, you go. You go.
So obviously I expect Drake London to shoot up quite a bit. I definitely don't think top 10, but I expect him to shoot up from where he is now. Who I expect to fall, I expect Amari Cooper to fall a lot.
Ooh, because to counteract DPJ going up.
Yes.
Okay. All right, I can see that.
I could see it. Um, okay, I do have one. He's not far up on the list, but he's almost top 25. Zay Jones. I think with
Ridley.
Ridley coming back. Sorry.
The Riddler.
You
With
mean
Ridley,
now we're never superstars, Zay Jones?
yeah. I
Hey,
don't think he
we were
shows
real right
up.
about him for 1 week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll take.
I don't think Zay Jones is this high up on the list.
All right, I have a bunch. All right, I'm going to start with the people I think you should wipe off the face of the earth. I got 4 of them.
All right.
Low lock it.
Shoot.
Juju,
Oh,
done.
yeah.
Deontay Johnson, done. Gabe Davis, and I hate to say this one, Cortland Sutton.
What about Tyler Lockett?
Oh, actually, let me switch. Hold on. Let me switch the I'll go Thielen with instead of Cortland Sutton. But
Okay.
but those are the four that I think are done.
Okay.
There's a couple players that I say will go way up the list, potentially top 10. There's only one that really came to my mind, and I'm not going to go homer and say Bateman, but that's too easy of an answer because he got hurt. My real answer is Jahan Dotson.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
first 2 games of the season, Jahan Dotson was so nasty. People forget.
And then he got hurt for a long period of time. But the thing is, here's what scares me. So Curtis Samuel, take out Thielen, put in Curtis Samuel. Curtis Samuel 100%, I think, should be done. Because he was good for like middle of the season, and then near the end of the year, you were just begging he gets 4 points.
He was the new
Yeah.
Cordell Patterson,
Yes.
but not as good.
So with Washington, the only way Terry's been able to get going these past few years is if a quarterback's crazy enough to go, hey, one-on-one, there's Terry, let me throw it to him. I think Jahan Dotson is actually more of a complete receiver than Terry McLaurin. That's my hot take because I think Jahan Dotson he can out jump you. I think he's a slightly better route runner. He's a little bit more explosive than Terry. I think if Jahan Dotson can stay healthy, he becomes a very, very dangerous weapon for Washington.
Okay. I can see that.
All right. And with that, Ryan, close us out.
All right. Well, thank you all for listening and tuning into this podcast. You can like and subscribe if you like this podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe,
That was
and check us out. I know that was
not it.
yeah, that was not it. I'm a little off tonight, but be sure to like
You know
and
what else is
subscribe
not
this
it?
podcast, guys. Come on, be sure to like and subscribe this podcast, and check us out on all of our social media at Last Place FP. That is Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Check us out. We post updates all the time whenever we post our podcasts. You guys are jokers. We appreciate all of you for tuning in, and pardon my co-hosts and their
and as
Never
the other
forget.
co-host, never
Yeah.
forget.
Yep,
Sometimes
go ahead.
you're right. Sometimes you're right.
Yep, as always.
Yeah, as always, next week's episode is going to be tight ends.
Woo!
And actually, I think we can just say it because of our newer scale that we have introduced with receivers. We're going to take a look back and see if we can find any more context between quarterbacks and running backs.
Yeah.
So,
Yay, more work. Let's do
more
it, boys.
work.
Woo woo.
That is it for us, and we will see y'all next week.